Aquaman is directed by James Wan and stars Jason Momoa, Amber Heard, and Patrick Wilson, and among others. And this is the 6th film in the DC Extended Universe that was established back starting with Man of Steel and has worked its way up, in the last few years. And this film is about the character of Aquaman, who got introduced in Batman vs. Superman and also in Justice League last year. And this story deals where basically it deals with Aquaman, Arthur Curry, played by Jason Momoa, who ends up he's living in his life on the surface in Maine with his father, basically there's a plot that deals where Aquaman, who's been living on the surface for a little while, he ends up getting recruited. He ends up getting asked by Amber Heard's character Mira to go to Atlantis in order to stop his half brother Orem, played by Patrick Wilson, from taking over. On top of stopping these guys that are these military type guys that are working with Patrick Wilson, who's led by this guy named who's later known as the Black Manta.
Yeah, he's going around killing other cultures in this underwater. Yeah, it's not just Atlantis. It's a bunch of different. Yeah, worlds. It's basically different kingdoms that Patrick Wilson's character is trying to take over to become the official owner of the ocean, also to wage war against the surface. Yeah, and it's up to Aquaman to stop him. Now, here's some backstory. Now, if you've been following our channel, we've pretty much talked about all these, the DC Universe films. They all started back in 2013 when Man of Steel came out, which I enjoyed. I find highly underrated.
And then when they finally got to Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice, they decided to actually go into a full-on multi-universe thing where you got to bring in different characters and bring their own films finally.
And unfortunately, that's when they took the wrong fucking turn.
Yeah, they started out not so good with Batman vs. Superman. Then they worked their way a little back up with Suicide Squad. Then when they got to Wonder Woman, it got better. Then when they got to Justice League, it's been kind of hit and miss basically.
See, it's a hit and miss because even Suicide Squad, some people would say it worked its way up, but a lot of people actually consider it went even a lot farther down than that.
The thing is that with this universe,
overwhelmingly a amount of people say that Suicide Squad's the worst of all 6 films. I don't agree either, but I don't like it either. You like it way more than I did.
But basically, what we're saying is the whole universe is hit and miss. But because it seems like for a while they were not trying to copy Marvel Comics' formula with the way they're doing their films.
It seems like
after Justice League came out, they tried to go with that approach by just making films instead of doing it the more dark and serious. They were bringing more of that fun, type of comic book vibe that you see in like the earlier years.
Unfortunately, you got people who want to leave their roles. Then you got directors who have their own way of going directions, and it's caused the DC universe kind of be in a bit of a mess. Yeah, where you don't know where the fuck we're going.
Yeah, but from the trailers from this, it's pretty much what I predicted, because from the trailers I got. Keep in mind, growing up, I was never really the biggest fan of Aquaman, but after getting introduced to Justice League and also in Batman vs. Superman, it actually kind of took a different route for me, because believe it or not, back in the day when I was a kid, I actually got introduced. I got into Aquaman better in the Justice League animated series, because that to me showed that he's good. They actually did more of his character, and here it got me really interested, because not only did I like the whole fucking visual of being underwater and stuff, but it seemed like now DC is finally going in the direction of making pretty much like B-movie level type of box office films, where they're no longer. It seems like they're slowly getting back on track.
They're not trying to go Michael Bay anymore. Like
they're self-aware with what they're doing with their type of action, their type of comic films. Yeah, and with that, they actually succeeded. And I'll admit that for this film, given some of the flaws it has, was a pretty fun time.
It's a pretty good movie. It does have some flaws with me, but it's the more better ones as of lately.
Yeah, because to get my pros out of the way, Jason Momoa, who he's great.
He's perfect for the role.
He was great in Justice League, and he really shines here because we actually get to see a lot more about his backstory, about who he was. We also see the dynamic between him and Amber Heard's character and everything.
And she was great as well. And you get to see, I liked how we get to see his parents and
that was great.
Relationship with his parents.
Which is funny because his mom is played by Nicole Kidman. This is her second time being in a DC film after Batman Forever.
Exactly. And I will say, another pro I had, Patrick Wilson as the villain, it was fucking great.
Yeah.
I haven't seen, as you guys know, in the history of DC universe so far, the villains haven't been the best at all. Personally, I don't think any villain has been nowhere near as good, but one, and that was Zod in Man of Steel. He's only one doable. I mean, good. The other ones have been written fucking poorly.
Yeah, I mean, to an extent, some of the villains that they have in some of the other films, besides Zod, they're either forgettable, or they're just there, or they're really fucking terrible, like Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
But anyway, this one, I'm glad to see that Patrick Wilson, he gives it his all. But now the character itself could have done better with the writing, because he's really just playing, that typical,
brother.
Basically that typical villain that wants to take over the throne and stuff.
This is Thor underwater.
Basically, or in some cases also Black Panther. As well. But I still got into into this villain's motive, because I
think it helps when you have actors you like playing those roles.
Well, it also helps.
Patrick Wilson, I like it.
I do too, and I also like the other guy they have in here too. The guy who plays Black Manta. The guy who played him was good, and I was actually more interested with this villain, because there's actually something that sets up that I actually was into a little more than what they do with the
brother thing. Yeah.
So unfortunately, this villain that they use is kind of sidelined throughout in favor of the brother storyline.
Yeah.
So that was.
I will say another thing I liked was I thought the visuals were absolutely beautiful.
Man.
See it in 3D if you can, because this movie was just downright gorgeous.
It was.
I mean, the effects were perfect, and you know what? That's another thing DC usually fucks up on. They generally have CGI problems. This one.
They seem to fix it. Yeah. Now, there's still some issues we'll get into on the CGI.
Yeah.
But for the most part, because most of it has to take place in underwater, they blended it so well to where I got used to it after a while. I was so, enthralled by all the shit that's going on, especially if there's even a scene later, in the climax, where you get to see laser sharks and shit.
Well,
this world is just captivating.
I did like the end where it reveals the
actual suit,
man.
Yeah, that was great.
That goes back to what it needs to look like.
Yeah.
I hope he wears that in the future.
He probably will be, yeah.
Because a lot of people, I know women, you're like, oh my God, keep the shirt off. That sometimes ruins movies like that when you're trying to do the whole modeling. Because I was really worried that they were going to model his ass big time, and that was going to... I'm sorry for you women. That can ruin the entire fucking movie.
I'm glad that they were going with more a gladiator type approach, where he's wearing armor and stuff.
Because you got to think, Michael Bay did the modeling thing with Megan Fox, and it ruined it ruined the Transformers solely. If you did that with Jason Momoa, then goddamn, you ruined the fucking movie.
Yeah. But yeah, going back to the visuals, the world that they set up, especially with Atlantis, it is so imaginative. I liked all the fucking creatures they set up in here too, especially this one part where you get these weird creatures coming off of this ship that kind of looks like some out of a horror film, which is James Wan, so it's kind of given.
Yeah, but I like the kingdoms, all the different types of kingdoms.
One of my biggest praises for me the most in this is the camera work that James Wan does with the action scenes. If you know James Wan, the way he does with his the Conjuring films, he would have these kind of long tracking shots where he would stay on characters for a while and it kind of moves in a circular direction. Yeah. I like how he does that.
Yeah, his camera work is great.
It's outstanding.
Yeah, in the fights and especially when they're in Italy and they're running out through the buildings.
Was a great shot, especially because there's a scene you see where Mira is running through this building, and then it pans back and you get to see from a distance you see her, and then it comes in up close and you see Aquaman fighting the other dude.
But we're going to have a spoiler, so we would like to save a little bit more on the touch bases on that.
The score was also great, too.
The score was great. But now on to the cons. I will say that since it does take the same approach as more superhero films usually do, if we're going to go that route, I was a little disappointed that this one was not really necessarily a full-on origin story. This one... should we save for the...
Yeah, we'll say that for the spoilers.
All right, I'll go to the spoilers because there's something that I'm afraid it could spoil. I was a little kind of disappointed in. Let's just say that the origin part with him being building up, it's really just here and there, a couple scenes. It's mainly a sequel to another movie, which we'll tell you. Yeah. So, therefore, it's not an origin, which kind of that's kind of fucking bullshit compared to what we got with Wonder Woman and the other superheroes. Yeah,
because it seemed like because DC was going off of, you know, they were trying to change things up a bit, they were going for more of a full-on movie featuring the character and basically continuing events from a certain film.
Yeah.
Instead of doing a full-on origin film. So what they did was they combined the origin material and basically put it in with the movie itself. So they basically put the origin stuff as flashbacks.
Yeah. Another con I have, even though I like the scene with him fighting the Black Mantis guy. I did like that. However, we do your typical superhero films where you have that villain that you really like, and then he's gone, and you're just going to have to wait somewhere later for him.
Yeah,
like maybe possibly another movie. I don't know.
But then again, at this point, because a lot of superhero films tend to do that, it's not really anything. It's not really. I guess it's something I'm just used to.
I will say, for what it's worth, when films do that villain you want to see, is generally a lot shorter. So this one gave us a little bit more length with that. Yeah. But it still did that.
It still did, yeah. And the story itself is, you know, like I said, it is very standard because you are still getting the stuff where he's going through having to build his way up to be the throne and things like that. So the story itself has been used in countless other movies, but for the way that the film is going with this kind of B-movie level approach that they do, it still like succeeds on that level because the movie knows that it's going like all balls to the wall crazy with stuff, and it actually, in a way, it's kind of like a cross between Indiana Jones, Fifth Elements, and even to an extent of Thor, basically.
I will say that the parts, I'm not going to say full on the ending, but the part where you guys heard us say earlier where he retrieves a suit, which comes with a certain something in his hand, was supposed to be more of a should have been a lot harder battle getting that.
Yeah,
that was a pretty quick.
The obstacle that he has to go through, we'll talk in our spoiler, it felt like it should have lasted longer than what it should have done. But anyway, we'll get to that later. If I had like really another con, I would say like, you know, the movie did feel like you were saying, we should have touched base a little more on the origin aspect of what he did because we don't really, like, we get it here and there with his character, but they don't really spend too much time on it.
Yeah, and the film does come off as thin plotted, in a way.
But with that, and also to go back to some of our other problems with the CGI, there were some parts, at least especially in the beginning, where they do make one of the characters in the film look kind of like de-aged, where they look younger. It does look a little off, like when you really look at it, and also some of the parts, like when you first see the characters like underwater and stuff.
A lot of the non-human ones look.
Yeah, they
come off.
They do come off as a little jarring because they don't, like, you can tell it's rendered to a point where it's CGI faces over
like basically Patrick Wilson in this. I didn't have too much problem, but he does look very baby faced in this. Yeah. And not only that, I don't know if it's a problem here per se, maybe a nitpick. It's weird that they don't make bubbles whenever they're talking underwater. It was very just freshed out. Like
they only do that once, and that's when Patrick Wilson's screaming at them.
Yeah, but they're just talking. I wish there could have been more effects around giving me the hint they're in water, not in some fucking land somewhere.
Yeah, because that's what I'm saying.
So other than that, I don't want to go. I want to save a lot for the spoiler, but it is a step up. But still, it's not hitting the spot.
Yeah,
but it's still a step up.
I still give DC, like, they look like they're trying. They're really trying to get things back on track. And, you know, with Shazam coming out, there's probably hope with that too. So going for what it's worth, I still got a kick out of this.
So with that being said, I'm going to go with a low compelling grade on the Film Phreeks meter.
I'm going to go with a regular compelling grade on the Film Phreeks meter. And for those of you who have also seen Aquaman and some of the other DC films as well, let us know in the comments below of what you thought about it. And if you like what you see here, you can feel free to like, subscribe to our channel, and we'll be seeing you, and you can check out some other reviews here on our website at filmphreeks.com, and we'll be seeing you in our next review. We'll see you later.